Roleplay in English classes is great, but you can easily mess it up with some common mistakes. I'm Will from Enchanted ESL, and this video is all about identifying the common mistakes ESL teachers make when using roleplay in their classes. I've used roleplay extensively in my teaching, and yes, in the beginning, I was guilty of many of these things. Fortunately, once you know what to avoid, you can crack on with some great learning. If you're not sure exactly what roleplay is or why it's so great, then you should check out the video I've made explaining all of that. It's up there and in the description. But in short, roleplay is the spontaneous improvisation of scenarios, where the focus is on speaking fluency. It's unscripted and quite free form, and that's why the first mistake is restricting your students too much. The whole point of a roleplay is to get students to come up with language on their own. That's what speaking fluency is. But I see so many roleplay scenarios or methods that just give students a script or a sentence with one word blanked out. That's not roleplay, that's just saying words. If you want to practice pronunciation or specific language structures, you can do that, but don't call it roleplay. All students need is a short, concise role description. You may wish to brainstorm a few key words and phrases before doing the scenario, but students don't have to use them. Give them freedom to express themselves. Oh, and don't give them any time to plan what's going to happen beforehand. It should all be off the cuff. The second mistake is having boring scenarios. When I look on the internet for roleplay scenarios, so many of them are tedious and mundane. You go into the shop to buy some bread. You ask someone directions to the school. Wow. Look, not every scenario has to be wild and exciting, and those everyday situations do practice relevant language. But if students aren't interested, they'll do the bare minimum, and your scenarios will last for like 10 seconds. However, an engaging scenario with conflict or a problem to solve will provoke more conversation and creativity in language. You go into a shop to buy some bread, but there's only one loaf left, and someone rushes in and grabs it before you. Or you ask someone directions to the school, but it's 10 kilometers away and you have no car. The third mistake is not explaining what roleplay is and not setting expectations. I made this mistake at first. I just assumed students would know what roleplay is, and when they didn't, I got frustrated. If you just throw a scenario at students, you can't expect them to know immediately what to do. What do they have to say? Is there a script? How long does this go on for? Can they get up and move about and use props? All this made the activity very awkward. Eventually I realised my mistake and stepped in to show them how to do roleplay. Much better would have been to explain and model a scenario beforehand so everybody starts on the same page. Mistake number 4 is correcting students' mistakes. Huh? But you have to correct them if they make errors, right? That's the whole point of being a teacher. Wrong. Roleplay isn't about using perfect language. It's about developing confidence. Mistakes are inevitable. Even native speakers mess up mid-flow sometimes. If you jump on their errors and correct everything, you'll kill their confidence and disrupt the scenario. Now, if students are struggling and actively seeking help, be there to support them, of course. Most of the time though, it's best to let them figure it out on their own. Confidence comes before perfection. The last common mistake is a big one. It may seem tempting to get students to perform their role plays in front of everyone. Don't do this. First, they'll treat it like a dramatization and start scripting it, and second, you're putting undue pressure on them. Sure, some students love to perform in front of a group, but most people hate public speaking. Can you imagine how stressful it would be to stand up in front of a group of your peers and improvise a conversation in another language that you're not too confident with? There's a time and a place for public speaking and performance, and if you want to do that, you could try a dramatization. Done in the right way, they can be very valuable too. So as we've got to the end of the video, your next one could be about dramatization. Find out exactly how to do them right here. But for now, I've been Will from Enchanted ESL, wishing you all the joy and success in your teaching. See ya.